So there's a couple things here. There is BookBuddy, which we'll talk about, but kind of like how we did before, there's also the mock interview. This time, to make it easier, the mock interview will be just a recording. So if you look here, the mock interview, you're going to answer both of these prompts below and record your responses in a video. So explain the difference between component statement prompts and give illustrative examples of where one would be used over the other. And the other question is explain the purpose of the optional dependency array for use effect and how different dependencies are handled. So what I would do, and I've had people do this before, I would definitely, when you record these, please use like record your screen and use like code examples. Does that make sense? Like I've had people kind of like just record it on their phone and talk about it, and it sounds good, but without like seeing code examples, we want to make sure So like the Reacto is like use like code examples. So when you record these, I would definitely use like code examples. So there's a couple ways you can record it. You can record it through Zoom. I've had some people who would have like a YouTube channel or use YouTube. You can like record it on YouTube and send me the link. There's a couple ways to do it. So this will take either like a website URL, if you have like a YouTube link, a media recording, or a file recording. And this will also be due a week from today, so next Tuesday. So any questions on just the recorded part itself or the mock interview part? Make sense what we're going to do?
How do you record on Zoom? I've never done that before.
You may have, I've had people do it. You may have to, I don't know if you make your own meaning. Maybe Google it. People have definitely done it before. I know you can do it. Kind of like how I record this class. You can definitely, I think maybe you make your own meaning and record it, like just like your own regular meaning and kind of record the screen from there. But double check, like just Google it, but I think that may be how you do it. Like I said, you can there's like different extensions on Chrome that you can record stuff. I know Mac, you can record through QuickTime. I've had people on Windows use like, I want to say DaVinci or something, like a couple like programs they've had to record stuff. So yeah, the easiest way is probably through Zoom if you don't have any other tools. I've had people like go crazy who have YouTube channels that have like a green screen and do like all this like crazy stuff, which is kind of cool. But the point is, just at least show me like code examples of it. Make sense? Any other questions on that, on just the career prep? Thumbs up, we're good? Okay. The main part of this is BookBuddy. So let's talk about BookBuddy. But BookBuddy is your career simulation for this unit. So what you're going to do is Calliope is asking you to build the front end of the online public library service called BookBuddy. So you can look at the tabs here and we can talk about it. So if you click here, everyone should have access to this. This is a starter repo. So what I would do, I would fork it and then clone it down. Just kind of like you did before. And then you will cd into it, do npm install and npm run dev, and then we'll talk about this API, which is this API documentation right here. So the key part is, and we'll go over this, but it says, note, this API is different in that it allows us to do more than request data. It also allows us to log in and even check out books. To do this, recall CRUD, which is create, read, update, and delete, and user authentication via JSON Web Tokens. Remember, about a week ago, we did the JSON Web Tokens. Everyone remember that? Thumbs up. So you're definitely going to be dealing with JSON Web Tokens. And we'll go through the documentation. I'll review the overall flow of the application, fetch the initial data, set up event listeners, pass update request to the API. Let's look at the requirements first. Well, actually, so BookBuddy is going to look something like this. This is their sample. So if I refresh, I can see a list of all these books, right? So if I click on learn more, you see how it says login to checkout? So I should not be able to check out this book until I'm logged in. So I'm going to log in. And if you don't have an account, you also, if you look up here, there's a login route here. If you don't have an account, there should also be a register route. You see how it says register in my URL here? So I already have an account. So it is lincoln@gmail.com, and Lincoln's password is password. So if I log in here, you can see I don't have any checked out books. So I can view all books now and say I want to check this book out. So learn more. Now you see how, because I'm logged in, now there's a button to check out this book. So now if I click check out and go to my account, you see how it says I have checked this book out. And if you look at this route, it's account me, and this says I checked out this book. And if I want to say return this book, I can click return, and the book has gotten returned. Also, if you look back here on BookBuddy, kind of like we did in Puppy Bowl, I should be able to search for a book. So I'll do this one, Alexander. So if I do ALEX, you see how it kind of like how we did the search params in Puppy Bowl, it gives me this. So that's a brief overview. So let's see what else they have. They have, so the requirements, get a project. So make sure, this is, I would say, one of the key parts is, since this is the bigger project, have it the GitHub project, and kind of like we did before, have detailed plan and tickets with task descriptions for each one. Have a GitHub repository. So once you fork and clone this, you have your GitHub repository. So have a GitHub repository containing all relevant code for the project. Functionality requirements. This is what they mean. Books. This could be the homepage. This component should show all books in the library's catalog. So you can have either route books, or like here they have, they just have their homepage showing all the books, which is fine too. And then if I click on this book, say, you see how my route changes to /books and then the ID of the book up here? Everyone see that in the top? So that's what they mean for this route. Books ID. I already showed you the login and register routes. The account is this link. So I can see Lincoln's first name, his last name, his email, and we previously saw any books Lincoln checked out. So this is where we are going to get into it. Like, unauthenticated users should be able to observe a list of books in a library, sign up for an account with a username and password, sign in with the correct username password combination. Unauthenticated users should not be able to check out or return any book, see the account page of any users. Authenticated users should be able to check out an available book. So this is if you're logged in, basically. Return any books they have checked out, like you saw. View their own account page, like we saw. Authenticated users should not be able to view the accounts of other users other than themselves. So like, I just see Chloe because she's like right below me on my screen. So I should not be able to log into Chloe's account and change something, because that's not my account. That's her account. And all users, whether you're logged in or not, should be able to view a list of the library's books, filter like we saw, and view details of an individual book. JavaScript basics, use your get, post, patch, delete methods, functional React components, style it with like Flex or Grid, stretch goals if you have them, use Google Fonts. You can deploy it if you want. Submission will be this link. So let's talk submission. You'll just submit your GitHub repo link. So let's actually talk about the docs. So here we strive to provide you with an easy to consume API. So remember how, I mean, you can kind of see this. How would we check to see whether users logged in or not? Any ideas?
Token.
Yes, you would need a token. So kind of like we did in that one workshop, let's look, when you say register here, so let's look at this endpoint, user endpoints. When you register, this route is used to create a new user. On success, you will be given a JSON web token to be passed to the server for future requests. So the first part is when you have to register to sign in, this is a sample call. You'll need a post request and then a first name, a last name, an email, and a password. And then if that's successful, you will get the API will create a new user, and then you see how you get this token here, kind of like we did before, right? This big token. Similarly, if you have then created an account, like I already had an account for LinkedIn, I will log in and on success, the same thing. You will be given a JSON web token to be passed to the server for requests requiring authentication. So I'm going to log in with my email and password, and you are going to get something back like this. And the main part is you are going to get the token back, which you need the token. So there's a couple other routes here. While we're here, there is this get API users me route, which is in essence what would be this / account in here. So this you can see is used to grab an already logged in user's relevant data, this endpoint. You must pass a valid token with this request or it will be rejected. So you can see a sample call. You need, kind of like we did before, a fetch request to this endpoint here, and then the headers. But remember how you have the authorization and it has to be a bearer, and then you pass in the token. Does that make sense to everyone? This is basically what we've done in the last workshop when we did JSON web tokens. You have to have in your headers the authorization and then the bearer and then whatever token you have. And then you'll get back in this example here, kind of like how you see here with Lincoln, first name, rescue, and any checked out books. So right now, Sam Smith doesn't have any checked out books and Lincoln doesn't have any checked out books. Then there's these other endpoints to actually get books. So get API / books will give you basically all the books like this. So this is so the one thing I put this link in it. So this is basically the API. So see how it's like API / books here. So if I wanted, where was it? So if I wanted like the users register, it would be instead of API / books, it'd be API / users / register. Does that make sense? Because they didn't have an actual link to the API like they did for Puppy Bowl. So I added this. Basically, the API is instead of /docs up here is /API and the rest. But I made it easier and I just put the link in like the sample call for /books. Does that make sense? And then, like I said, if it was for users me, this would be instead of API / books, it would be API / users.me. But this whole part here is a base URL in essence.
So we don't need to pass our cohort this time.
No, you do not. Correct. Yeah, this does not have a cohort in it. So like the get all books endpoint will, if I click here, you can see it will give you something like this. It will give you all the books. And it'll give you the ID, the title, the author, description, an image, whether or not it's available. So some, like you can see, some say available, true or false, because like all the cohorts are using this API. So like you can see, I checked the book out, so that like everyone's using this API. So don't be alarmed if it says like a book isn't available. So you'll get something like this, like we said.
Are we doing an add function too, or no?
No, you're not creating a book.
Okay.
So, and then you have this endpoint to get an individual book, API /book /book ID, and it will return a single book. So if I look, where did I have this? Here, like say I wanted this book, so Paper Bag Princess. For books, then I would do slash, it looks like it's an idea 50. So I would do /50. And then you see how I just get the information for that individual book. Okay, so then let's look here. The patch. So this part, any registered user can update, check out, or return a book. You must pass a valid token with this request or it will be rejected. So you can see these are the headers. So you need, and this is one of the ones to check out a book. You make a patch request, but you do need a token right here. So you are going to pass in the bearer and a token string here, a sample call. So notice in here, their code is missing a couple of things. If you notice, they say you definitely need to pass in a content type and authorization, but their sample code doesn't have it, but you definitely need to pass in this part. Does that make sense? I can't update this, but I just want you to notice that this is a sample call, but this sample call isn't going to work because it's not passing in the token. So follow what this says here, that you definitely need a token because it's not going to work without the token. And then if it's successful, the available will change to the opposite, like true or false. I wouldn't worry so much about these endpoints. The reservation endpoints, I wouldn't really worry about them. So the main functions are, let's see, the requirements. Like we said, GitHub project. You need a books route for all the books, a books ID to display details of an individual book, log in and register to be able to create an account and log into that account, a route for /account, which will show the username, logged in user, list of books, and then authenticated users should be able to do this. Unauthenticated users should not be able to check out a book. And we kind of like went through this. Any questions so far? No one has any questions?
How long
Okay.
do we have for this? Do we have a week or do we have 2
Yes,
weeks?
this is due next Tuesday.
Great.
So like I said, a couple of people are out today, so I thought it would be easier to just do an individual project, but you can still go into your breakout rooms and like work together and talk together. The other thing I wanted to mention is we previously, and you can still use how we did use state to store tokens, but if you notice, there's another way. If you look here, you could also store your token in local storage. Because what happens if you store it in local storage, if you like refresh your browser or close the browser, the token is still there. So you're still logged in, as opposed to if you just store it in state, once you refresh, like the token's gone. Or like you reopen it, the token's gone. So you don't have to do it this way. I'm saying you might want to check the documentation out for the local storage property and store your token in that way. So that's just a bit of a hint that may help you out. Any questions then? So again, this Book Buddy project will be due a week from today on Tuesday, and also the mock interview, the recordings will be due a week from Tuesday.